Now let's shift towards life advice. So this is a very personal perspective, but what do you think life is about? And is there any aspect that you feel very strongly about?
Well, I'm an existentialist, or I believe in existentialism, so I don't think that there is any innate meaning or any kind of pre-giving meaning beyond what we can possibly understand through moral psychology and evolutionary psychology. But at the same time, that doesn't mean I'm a nihilist. That doesn't mean that there is no point to anything. It's quite the opposite. You know, and existentialism tells us that the purpose of life, at least as I understand it, is to find meaning and make meaning. And I think that comes through connections. It comes through, which is why I'm lucky to be a teacher, right? It comes through the immediate connections we have with the people that we love most. But then hopefully we can go beyond that, and we can expand what Peter Singer, the Australian philosopher, talks about. The expanding circles is what he calls it. So you start off with the people closest to you, and then you hopefully can feel some of that same love in an ideal world for ever expanding groups of people. I think that's the nirvana, the holy grail that we should be aiming for. I'm certainly far from loving my neighbor as I should, but I think that's a lofty goal and a meaningful goal.
This is to the teenagers and the young audience watching. To students who are entering their adulthood, was there anything you've done that you wished you could have done better?
Oh, millions of things. Absolutely millions of things. I think the thing I would say is each time you have that thought, to show yourself some compassion, to not beat yourself up, because I made mistakes this morning. I know I did, right? I think that the thing to remember is most of the mistakes that we make don't really matter in the long run, as long as we're not hurting people, or at least intentionally hurting people. So no, there's no one great golden nugget that I think is the answer to that question.
When I was a kid, I asked my parents, if our lives are going to end anyways, why can't we just play every day?
How old were you when you said that?
4 or 5.
Great, see, okay, you're super curious, yeah.
So what I want to ask you is, must life exist with a purpose? I mean, you already said that life is to make purpose.
Yeah. Well, I think another way of looking at this is the Stoics, the ancient Greek philosophers. They talk about the purpose of life is to prepare for death. So if you were, and I really don't think that a 17-year-old should be worrying about this. I really, really don't. Ideally, a 41-year-old wouldn't be worrying about it too much either. But in all honesty, I have lost my mum quite recently, so that these questions become more and more relevant and salient as one grows older. But I think if you were to be snuffed out tomorrow, and you could look on where you are and the people around you and the relationships that you have, and feel as though, yep, to have had more time would have been wonderful, but you don't feel huge regret for actions or inactions, then I think the Stoics would say that you've led a reasonable life.
I would first offer my condolences, and I am very sorry for your loss.
Thank you.